Shalom. I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also, I want to acknowledge all the Akyam, pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, so through the Spirit, Matthew 18 today. It says, "At the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little sons," would be the word, little sons, "ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven." So this is it's a parable. It's not talking about an actual child, right? But Yahushua he grabbed a child and pulled him aside. But the meaning goes into basically someone who's unlearned, not skilled, hasn't been taught yet, right? And even if you've been in this truth for, let's say you came across this truth 1 or 2 years ago, then you literally in the truth you'd only be 2 years old. You see, it don't matter. Let's say you're 35 years old, but you only been in the truth since you were 33. Well, in the truth, this is what born again is talking about. You were born again at 33, but guess what? You're only 2. So it's not actually talking about his, little children. It's talking about men, and it's a parable. A little child. I'm actually going to grab, let me see. Matthew 18:1, the blue letter. I had looked it up in the past and I came across the word servant. But right now, let's see. The best explanation is like a child in intellect, right? This is the metaphorically speaking example, right? So, your intellect in this knowledge and this truth is like a child right now. So let's say you've been studying 2 years. Well, guess what? You're only 2 years old. So your intellect in this knowledge, you're certainly not an elder, you see? So that's what Yahushua is talking about, all right? Just to make that clear. And basically, if you can't receive this knowledge, you're not going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? You've been taught lies your whole life. Now you're 33, and you've been taught lies for 33 years. Well, you're not going to enter the kingdom as that 33-year-old Christian, right? Going to the Catholic Church or whatever madness you're in. But no, you become born again when you start to learn the truth according to knowledge. When you receive, you come into the fold of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Let's read verse 5. "And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me." Right, so now, the prophets are on the scene, and many of us are still in that children, like a child experience, child intellect, right? Like, for instance, I think I've been, 2017 is when I started learning the truth, maybe 2016. And what is it, 20? So I'm about 7, 8 years in. I'm still not even 10 years old, right? If you see a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old, you still look at that person like a child. So you understand the metaphor, all right? And so it says, "And who shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me." And You have to receive the Lord's prophets, his servants, the little ones, if you will. Those are the ones you have to receive. Meaning you have to receive the doctrine, the knowledge. It starts out with the true names, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. And if you can't receive that, then guess what? You can't enter the kingdom. There's nobody calling on Jesus that's going to enter the kingdom. All right? Jesus is played out. Jesus, we woke up in these last days. We've come into remembrance of all things, including the names. All right? Verse 6, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. And this is a heavy, heavy verse, man. Because all it takes is you heathen, you 2/3, to offend one of the Lord's Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's little ones. One of the ones who has faith in his in the truth. And you're better off putting a heavy ass rock around your neck and then jumping into the sea. Think about that, man. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to the man that by whom the offense cometh. All right. You don't want to be, and the Lord sets people up to offend his little one. Literally, it's the Lord's story, right? It's the Lord's script. That's why it's called the scriptures. This is the Lord's movie. He orchestrates everybody's steps. He directs everybody's steps. A man's goings are of the Lord, is what the scriptures say. So for instance, when a person comes to the camp and they start to curse or they start to badmouth the Lord's servants, the ones that believe in him, well, guess what? And then if we get offended in the spirit, well, guess what? That person well, that's why we tell you when people come to the camps and fuck up and talk shit or whatever, act, like a nuisance to the camp. You might hear a brother say, "Oh, the Lord brought him here just to curse him," which that's true, as we're reading here. Verse 7, woe unto the world because of I read that one. 8, wherefore if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. Another metaphor right here, because we know that the church, the men, another word for the church or the men is the body, right? So this is another word for that. This is another metaphor. When you're casting off your hand or your foot, because every brother serves a purpose in this truth, in this knowledge. Oh, by the way, it's 14. Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yashai. That has 144. We always acknowledge that number if we notice. All right. But anyway, so the hand or the foot, those would be brothers each represent a body part, right? Metaphorically speaking, right? And basically what it's saying is if the hand is offensive, you need to cut that brother out the body. You don't want, there's that verse, what's that verse? Just a little leaven. Let me see. A little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? So, well, that's talking about just a little bit of wickedness or a brother going off, saying the wrong thing, teaching the wrong doctrine. You have to cut that brother off because he's going to bring the whole body down. But that's what this is talking about, Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off. You got to cut off, because remember, the whole brotherhood represents as one body. That's what we call ourselves, one body, right? The men of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai are one body. You get the point, what I'm saying. You need to cut brothers off sometimes if they can't get right, for lack of better terms. Let's get this real quick. Galatians 5:9, it says, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump, right? So if you have too much yeast Like you're making bread, it's gonna ruin the bread, right? The bread won't rise properly. The bread won't. It's not gonna come out the way it's supposed to be. And that's the same thing with this truth. Just a little leaven, a little bit of oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? Because leaven is literally it's like a fungus. If that's the right word I'm looking for, but that same thing with a brother who's going off in the truth. It's better to cast that brother away than to let that yeast or that fungus spread. Yeah, it says yeast is basically fungus. That was right. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's like if you have too much fungus, though, the bread's not gonna come out right. That's why it says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So you don't want to destroy the whole body because you have a little leaven, a little too much leaven in there, a little too much fungus, right? But anyway, let's go back to Matthew 18 and 9. It says, "And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye than rather having two eyes to be cast into hellfire." Right, and again, if one of the brothers, is going off, he's teaching things that the elders, have called not truth, or we know that it's not the truth. Like if a brother of GMS starts saying, "Oh well, Edomites can enter into the kingdom," and he starts teaching that, or if he says, "Oh, the mark of the beast is white women," if a brother started teaching that and pushing that madness on his videos, well, guess what? You got to cast that brother out, man. Otherwise, you're gonna bring the whole camp into the fire. So that's why it's always good for the leaders of the camps to know the state of thy flocks, right? Let's get that right real quick. You got to know the state of your flocks. You got to know the state of your men. I don't know. Let's get Proverbs 27 and 23. It says, "Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds." Right. So meaning you got to know the flock of your pasture are men, and if you have a certain member in the camp who's going off and he continues to go off even after being corrected, then that's you got to cast that brother off, and basically it's everything about this truth is diligence, right? Even knowing the state of the brotherhood, right? You can't, you would be a fool to have a brother in the camp and he's been teaching for 8 months that the mark of the beast is white women, and you still let him be in the camp. You see what I'm saying? Like the most important thing for us to do is to teach sound doctrine. And I use that example because there's actually camps out there that teach madness like that the mark of the beast is white women, which is, when you think about it, that's just hilarious. But anyway, Matthew 18 and 10. "Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven." Right? You don't want to be despising the prophets. The Lord's prophets, throughout every generation, every age, they're, we're heavy men, so much to the point where, Lord's will, if I'm in that number, we are going to be the ruling body. We're going to be the government in the kingdom, So you don't want to despise in your heart one of the little ones, right? And same thing goes for the brothers. You don't want to despise a brother who is if he's an elect man, you don't want to be sitting there despising your brother. And if so long he's going in the right direction, he's staying on the narrow path, meaning he's teaching sound, correct doctrine, right? So let's get verse 11. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. How think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he not leave the 99, and goeth into the mountains, and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be he that find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more than the sheep, than the 90 and 99 which went not astray. Right. So that's what it is. You got to be careful with and this is a warning really for the people outside of us, because if you're in the elect and the Spirit's on you and you're doing the right thing, you're gonna be those 99 that are not going astray. But guess what? If one elect member falls, because there's a scripture that says a just man falleth 7 times and gets back up, right? So it's not like we're perfect in the flesh. Yeah, we make mistakes, we sin, the Lord's prophets, the Lord's elect, we're not perfect in the flesh. We tell you we're perfect in the Spirit, meaning we're perfect in the doctrine, in the truth. All right. But if you go astray, if one goes astray, yes, you're gonna be happy when you recover that brother. If you reprimand him or you rebuke your brother in the truth, or one of the brothers gets rebuked and reprimanded, and then he corrects himself. That's like an example of that sheep that left and went astray. But guess what? He got back in line. He fell, but it says a just man picks himself up. Right? Let's get that. Let's get that. So it doesn't mean, that the Lord's servants, the prophets, it doesn't mean we're perfect in the flesh, because, that'd be a foolish thing to say. Because Lord knows I'm not perfect in the flesh, But in the Spirit, that's a different story. I'm perfect in my spirit. I'm perfect in this generation, like Noah was. Right? It says Noah was perfect in his generation. The men who are preaching Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and on the street corners and on the videos, we're perfect in our generation. Proverbs, I was going to say perfect 24. Proverbs 24 and 16. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. So if you're wicked, you're going to stumble, you're going to be through. But if you're that sheep that went astray, if you get rebuked and you repent, then there's still hope for that servant. Matthew 18 and 14. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is heaven that one of these little ones should perish. Right? The Lord doesn't want his prophets to perish. The Lord doesn't. We know that, that there is prophecies that say some of the Lord's prophets is going to be, decapitated by, the vision John had in Revelation. He saw the servants of Yahweh getting their heads cut off by the guillotine. So we know that's going to happen. But let me get this right. Let me see. Let's get Psalms. So we know that is going to happen, right? That says, let me read it. Even so, it is not the will of the Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. And really, when you get technical, even when we get, someone gets our, if whoever the prophets that need to be put under the guillotine and lose their head, we know that the spirit never dies. So technically, you're not going to die because you receive that martyrship, right? You die for what you believed in, which is a great, great honor in the sight of Yahweh, which, it's all through the Spirit. But I'll go to Psalm 116 and verse 15. It says, in the middle, top middle. Precious in the sight of Yahweh is the death of his saints. All right. So what the word, you go into that word precious, it means rare. Right. So rare in the sight of Yahweh is the death of his saints. So yes, it's going to happen, but it's going to be a rare thing, right? Rare occasion, right? And really the main reason why that will happen is to just mark Esau, Edom even more. Because he's not supposed to touch the Lord's anointed. Let's get that verse, which is also in Psalms 105 and 15. It says, well, I'll just start at, let's see, I'll start at, it's talking about the Lord's prophets, but let's read it. He suffered no man to do them wrong, yet he reproved kings for their sakes, saying, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. You see? So when, sorry, I see Esau, when he starts putting hands on the Lord's prophets, man, that's just going to kindle the Lord's anger, you know? It's going to be a precious thing, which again, precious means rare. All right? Let's get Matthew 18. And 15. Actually, you know what? I'm going to close it out on there because this is starting to go into something different. So I'm going to close it out that because I got to get back on the slave ship. So I want to give all the praise. I hope that lesson was edifying. I want to give all the praise, the honor, and the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also, I want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect.